Hello and welcome to another IELTS speaking practice video. Today, Mr. is going to do it. And so, Mr., are you ready?
Yes, I'm
Do
ready.
you have the drink with you? Like at least something to
Yeah.
drink? Okay, fine. It's okay.
Mm,
All right, let's go to topic number 42 now. So let's do headphones. So do you use headphones? Headphones, you can talk about earphone as well, of course.
absolutely. I think I use headphones most of the time of my day, even when I study or it for listening to music. Mm, Basically, I use it a lot.
Hmm, I see. So what do you use it for?
Actually, most of the time, I will use headphones for listening to music. And also, when I study, I usually use headphones as well. I think it somehow helps me to keep away from the noise around me, and also helps me to concentrate more on my study.
I see. That's great. But what types of headphones do you use?
Uh, currently, I uh, currently I am using AirPods. I think they are really convenient.
Mhm.
I can bring them wherever I go to, and it doesn't have the string like to connect it to the phone. So
So it's basically a wireless headphone, no?
yeah, actually, and so yeah, it's convenient.
So, okay, you can say the wireless headphone, which is excellent in basically it looks new, modern, and but you have to charge it every time you use it, of course. You have to recharge it. Anyway, so when would you use headphones then?
Normally, I would use headphones when I'm in public.
Hmm.
Basically, because I do not want to disturb any people around me with the noise coming from my phone. So I will put on my headphones and just keep it to myself.
I have an idea because basically Zoom here, they don't record the note that I am writing for you. So basically I have to do this. So basically people have been complaining like why couldn't they see, the words I'm typing. So basically I'm just gonna write here, okay? So basically I'm just gonna uh I'm just gonna write it here. So headphones, so basically wireless headphones. Excuse me. Okay, so basically, I'm just gonna write for wireless headphones, but you have to recharge it. Okay. Anything else? So, do you think earphones are better than headphones?
To me, I think they are the same. They both have their own benefits and their own shortcomings. So most of the cases I think I will choose in different cases I will choose earphones, but in others I will probably use headphones.
I see. Like for example, if you go to the gym to do exercises, what would you like to use then? Earphones or headphones or nothing?
mm, I think I will use headphones specifically, yeah.
Interesting, because remember when you are running around in the treadmill, it's sometimes I think it's earphones better, because with headphone it would just there will be a lot of friction, mashing. There would be a lot of friction, and it would you would sweat a lot, And I don't think it's a right choice, to be honest with you. So, do you think earphones are better than headphones then?
Mm, uh, I think to
Think about the
me,
shape. Think about how small it is. Think about the sound's quality. Think about sound quality, shape, and sizes, something like that.
Well, then I think earphones are better choice. Because I think the size of earphones is much smaller than that of headphones. So, in many situations, when, for example, when you go to the gym or when you go somewhere that you have to do a lot of exercise, I think earphones can actually serve me really well. And headphones, I think, can be used when I'm alone or when I'm at home when there is no one around me. I think headphones will be a good choice. But in
Mm,
general, I think earphones are slightly better than headphones.
slightly better. Yeah, so but if you think about sound quality, actually, there's something called over ear headphones. So, or there's something called noise canceling, Have you heard about noise canceling headphones?
Yeah,
So basically, it destroyed all the no it's supposed to destroy the noises coming far to you. So noise canceling headphones, actually, it provides superior sound quality, you know. But sometimes there are cases that you don't need to care much about sound quality. That's when you have to go to, let's say, you go outside, for example, there's a lot of noise around you. You would need to your headphones or your earphone to cancel the noise for you. Actually, there are noise canceling earphone as well, Those things are expensive. Now, so do you feel uncomfortable wearing headphones? Like think about wearing it for a long time, something like that.
mm, actually, sometimes I do get uncomfortable wearing headphones. Mm, But the good thing about wearing headphones is that they can cover my ears really well, and I do not have to put up with any noise coming from the outside. However, when I wear them for a long time, I think they hurt my ears, and then I get really uncomfortable, and I have to stop wearing it
Mm,
for a while.
I see. To get uncomfortable, right? Right. Actually, I do not enjoy wearing headphones for a long time, so I understand exactly how you feel about that. Now, so it's actually quite uncomfortable. And so whenever I'm out, when I'm going to the gym or going outside and I need to wear earphones, there's something called a sport earphone, sport types. So in what conditions would you not use headphones?
I think the situation that you definitely do not that I definitely would not use headphones is probably when I go to the gym or uh, when I go jogging or walking. Because in those cases I usually sweat a lot,
Hmm.
and uh, as a result, it causes many um, inconvenience to me. I've and I think that
Yeah.
using headphones at those conditions will not be a
Okay, think
favorable.
about think about like where you are not allowed to use headphones. Like for example, in an exam, for example, or in case that you have to be in class and listening to the other teachers, something like that. Or when wearing headphones would be impolite. It's when people are talking, and you wear headphones just because you don't want to hear them anymore. I think those conditions would be when you would not use headphone. Of course, you can, but it would be impolite. Anyway, so let's go to the next one. Part one. Next one. Okay, so this is 42. Let's try something. Okay, let's try 90. Let's try we did this one already. Okay, so let's go to computer and tablet. So do you use or do you have a computer or a tablet?
Yes, I do own a computer, a laptop specifically. Mm,
Specifically,
specific, specifically.
specifically, specifically. All right. So what else? Okay. Okay, let's
Yeah,
try again. Do you have or do you use a computer or a tablet?
yes, I actually own a computer in particular, and I have been using it for a while, and I think it and my brand is an Apple computer. So yeah, I think using a computer helps me a lot in my work or in my study.
I see. And what do you most often use a computer or a tablet for?
Mostly, I use my computer for study, for doing research or searching the information for my study. But sometimes I also use my computer to watch videos on YouTube or just to watch movies.
Mhm.
I think these are the most regular use of my computer.
I see. Right, I see. So when did you start using a computer or a tablet then? Must be really early, no?
Yeah, actually, I think I started using a computer when I was about in secondary school, when I was in grade six. Because I remember I had to do a presentation and I had to do research. So as a result, I had to use a computer to search to look for information. And since then, from time to time, I use computer. But actually, in high school, I use computer more than ever.
I see. Interesting. So, do you find computers or tablets difficult to use? Why not? You can actually talk about what kind of operating system they are using, what kind of operating system. Like, for example, if you use Windows, Linux, or is it a Mac OS, Mac operating system? Or you can think about other kind of system. Yeah. Or you can also talk about like some kind of weird um sometimes in the library there's something called Ubuntu, Ubuntu. I've seen it in when I was in Europe. So basically, do you find computers or tablets difficult to use?
Mm, Uh, actually, I think to me, using computers is not really difficult. Currently, uh, I'm using a computer that has Windows operating system, and I think I have been using it for a long time. And most of the time, I do not have any difficulty working out any problems because they always have instructions for me to use. So
Mm,
I think using my computer, at least to me, is not really difficult.
I see. It takes some getting used to, right? So it takes some getting used to. It takes some getting used to, là cũng phải tốn một khoảng thời gian để mà làm quen chứ. Of course, it takes some time getting used to. Or it takes some time getting used to it. Now, so how different would your life be if there were no computers? So why not? Like think about the fact that are you able to finish your deadlines, your exercises, or would you have the entertainment at your hand? YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, uh, something like that, Facebook, something like that. How different would your life be?
To be honest, I think if there were no computers, my life would be really miserable. Mm, I am so familiar, I am so used to using my computer that I think I spend about 3 or 4 hours a day on my computer.
Mhm.
So without them, I think it would be really hard for me to meet my deadlines or to surf Facebook or watch videos or watch movies because doing that on smartphone will not be really convenient because the screen is not as big as the computers.
Mm. Exactly.
So
It would put a strain, like it would say it would put a strain on your eyes, right? So it
yeah.
would be stressful on the eye if you look at a small screen. I see. Now, but the question say if there were no computers, it means that uh, they didn't say that there would be no computer, but they didn't say that there would be no phones or there would not be any iPads or any tablets, So you can answer it that way. Cái câu này đâu có hỏi là nếu không có điện thoại hay không có iPad hay là không có tablet gì đâu. Nên là mình phải trả lời hướng đó được. Okay, very good. So I would like you to go to another part one question. Let's try 89, meeting new people. So how often do you meet new people?
Actually, I meet new people very regularly because I attend a lot of clubs in my school.
Mm.
So many a new generation will appear. So that means um, I have to
Come and make
meet a lot
acquaintance
of
with
new
them, right?
people, younger people and older people.
To
So
make
yeah, very
acquaintance.
often to me.
So you have to make acquaintance with them, yeah. I see. It's not a must though. Actually, if you find and then you make friends with them, it's a good thing for you, but it's not a must. It's not a must. So do you find it easy to talk to new people? Why not?
Despite the fact that I meet a lot of new people, I find it not really easy to talk to new people.
Hmm.
When I first met someone new, it took me a lot of time getting used to their. Uh, it took me a lot of time getting used to their presence. So, not talking to new people, I think sometimes they just frighten me somehow.
Yeah, it's a
And
frightening thought, right?
yeah,
So
and
it's
I don't
like
know
it's
what to
like
talk about.
mm, so it's a frightening thought. Cái suy nghĩ khá là đáng sợ đấy. It's a frightening thought if you don't talk to people for a long time. Actually, I actually do talk to people sometimes because I work all the time from home. So I actually talk to my students and talk to my neighbors and people. So I'm not like a hermit. Know the word hermit, right? A hermit is someone who absolutely maintain no social connection with other people. A person who absolutely maintain no connection at all. Like they don't even maintain like eye contact. They don't even maintain eye contact with people. It's like they just ignore it. Còn không thèm nhìn vào mắt luôn á. Thấy ta nhìn ignore. They don't even maintain eye contact with people. They don't even talk. They don't even do anything. Yeah, and they stay away. They stay away from people. Yeah. So you're not that. So do you worry about what people you meet think of you Why not?
Sadly, I actually have some worries about what people I meet think of me. Because I think the way people think of me will somehow define who I am. So I know it's maybe not true, but most of the cases, I probably will try to behave myself a very in a very suitable way for each people, for each person, according to their personalities or their humor or their
Sense of
relation to
humor?
me. Yeah, their sense of humor and yeah, their relation to me. So uh, different kinds of pe- different kinds of people will all meet a different version of myself. So that I think it will to me, I think it gives me a sense of security about how people will think of me.
Mm.
Because, yeah, yeah, I think to be honest, I do worry about what people think about me.
I see. As you grow older and older, you will start to worry less and less about what people think of you, you know? Don't worry too much about it. When I was your age, I was very, very nervous. Whenever I am in a social situation, you know, talking to people seems it feels like I'm always being judged, you know? It feels like I'm always being judged. But then, you know, after some times, you finally realize that whatever people think of you, it's not that important to your life, you know. And you start to kind of grow, start kind of grow some confidence, grow in confidence. Okay, so where do you often meet new people? Hello? Okay, think about popular
Mostly,
places.
I
Mhm.
often meet new people when I'm at school. There are many new students.
Okay, so there are many new students. I say, how about cafes or maybe a library or maybe let's say a schoolyard or something like that. Or maybe if you talk about like a festival, you know, sometimes there's a cosplay festival, you know, sometimes there's a cosplay festival. And if you can go there, you can meet new people, for example, you know. You can talk about those places. Do you go to those places? Hmm? I think it's your internet lagging or something. Do you hear me well, Miss Thư? Uh-oh. I think she got kicked out. Oh, I see. Okay, so since you're back, let's answer that question. So where do you often meet new people? So I said maybe schoolyard, maybe a cafe, maybe you know, sometimes you go to cosplay festival, right? Mm. And sometimes there are just activities for young people and stadium or something like that. So where do you often meet new people?
Most of the time, I meet new people in my when I'm at school. There are many new students, both younger and older students, and mm, I think that's where I meet new people the most. However, when I go to the coffee shop or go to concert or festival, I also meet a lot of new people. However, I do not really um, make any acquaintance with them. I just know them. Yeah, so that's the places that I think I often meet new people.
I see. So do you like meeting new people? Because you're an introvert. Yes, I know, I'm the same. But do you like meeting new people?
Actually, it depends on many factors. Sometimes I do
Factors, you
like,
mean many factors.
yeah, many factors. Sometimes when I feel really energetic and I feel like I need to release my energy, I think I really want to meet new people, to maybe to talk to them or just to um, see new people. But some other times I really hate meeting new people, because I feel like I'm too tired or I'm too because I'm an introvert. So sometimes I find it really hard to find a common topic to talk to new people that I meet. But I think most of the time I do not really like meeting new people.
Hmm. I see. That's a good answer. Okay, Mr. Let's not waste time here and go to part two and part three. So let me just start with something here. Okay, let's try 82, which is describe a foreign person. Oh, maybe just make, I'm gonna make it smaller. Okay, describe a foreign person who you have heard or known that you think is interesting. Anyone foreign, bất kỳ người nào nước ngoài cũng được. Well, you should say who the person is, how you knew him or her, what kind of person he or she is, explain why you think he or she is interesting. Interesting. And then you have part three about foreign things. So do you have any foreign friends? And do you think having foreign friends is a good way to know other countries? Remember that people from around the world, they can go to your country, and of course, they bring a wealth of culture, knowledge, and of course, their own customs as well. So, is it a good way to know about our countries? So sometimes you don't even need to go to their country. You can just look at them, and you can understand how they behave, what they believe in, how they dress, what they think like, something like that. And but the question focus on, is it a good way or not? So you have to try to discuss if it's a good way or a bad way, or it's not exactly a good way. So think about the fact that having foreign friends here doesn't mean that you have to meet them. Maybe they're in their own country. Maybe they're already here in your country and they have to struggle to you know, assimilate into your community, for example, để mà hòa nhập với lại cộng đồng của mình. So sometimes, of course, a lot of foreigners, they have to try to assimilate into your community if they are in your country, for example. Same way if you go to other countries. So think about that. And of course, when they try to assimilate into your community, they might behave differently compared to if they're in their countries. So I think maybe it's better if you go to the country that you want to know more about. So they are good and bad in all the methods. Of course, no method's the best. So think about that. Give some ideas. Okay, you can also provide a few other good way to know about other countries. Like, for example, researching online, see their online behaviors. Look at their online behavior. You can understand a lot about what they think, because when people are online, they do not have to face immediate consequence for their actions, you know. So it means they can show their true color. Có thể thể hiện bản chất rõ ràng khi người ta không phải chịu trách nhiệm về những hành động của họ. Well, actually, it's happened. So basically, if you look at their online behaviors, how they comment on posts, what they post, what they share, how they how can they say, communicating with others online, it shows their online behaviors and also show who they are as a person. And it actually give you a glimpse. So basically, it gives you a glimpse of how their community behave, you know, how the other countries are like, you know. So sometimes you don't even have to have a foreign friend. Just look at people's online behaviors. That's one way I can think of. Think about reading books and watching videos about other countries. Could be one way, but it could give you, like, let's say, a distorted view or a biased view. Because basically, if you watch videos, it's made by a group of people or a person, and maybe you are biased because you are listening to their own experience and their opinion. So your view might be biased as well. You know the word bias? Bias means you are opinion, you show your opinion. So it's basically you listen to the opinion of the other people. So of course it's biased view, một cái cách nhìn nhận bị méo mó, bị sai lệch đó. So reading books also can be good, but the problem is you suffer from the same thing. You distorted view because sometimes the author, they might not be impartial, you know. Đôi khi là cái tác giả nó không có trung lập. They're not impartial in the way they present the image of the country you're talking about. Sometimes it could give you a distorted view, yeah. All right, so do you think it's important to know the culture and language before going to another country? Well, think about going to another country for studying abroad or just visiting, you know, like for a short trip, or maybe you're going there for immigration purposes, you know, immigration. Để mà luôn for immigration purposes. And why is it important? I think you can answer this one with your own, no problem. Now, what can you think of people who work in international companies? Think about international companies. You have to meet international people, like people, workers from many different races, people from different nationalities. And then, of course, people from many different social background as well. They work for international companies. And of course, for international companies, the environment, the work environment, the work culture is very different from a national company, you know. Công ty quốc tế đương nhiên là cái môi trường làm việc, cái culture của nó sẽ khác biệt nhiều với công ty quốc gia. Of course. What do you think of those people? And think about, you can also talk about their salary, you know. You can also talk about the way they think, the way they talk, and their viewpoints, and what you can learn. Can you learn a lot from them, from working with them, something like that, you know? And you can also think about their shortcomings, you know, shortcomings. Like, for example, is there any difficulties that those people have to face every day? Think about, how can I say, the differences in behaviors that can lead to misunderstanding, can lead to misunderstanding in the workplace. And think about sometimes it's the language barrier. I know that people who work for international companies, they have to speak English, of course, or sometimes they have to speak like fluent Chinese if you want to work with Chinese people, or yeah, something like that. But sometimes the language barrier, I think it's sometimes a big barrier, or the culture barrier as well, because you have a different culture compared to them, and it can lead to a lot of misunderstanding, and it can affect the workflow. Cái nhịp làm việc có thể bị ảnh hưởng, cái lượng làm việc, workload and workflow as well. Okay, think about that. And what can you learn from each other? Think about that. Now, what abilities do people need to have when working in an international company? Think about what abilities you need. Of course, beside from your academic credentials, like what kind of degree you have, something like that. And of course, beside from language proficiency, of course, you need to have, like, let's say an IELTS 6.5 or 6.0 at least in order to work in an international company. Yes, and you will slowly learn more and more and more, So language proficiency, academic potentials are a must. And what else do you need? They need to keep an open mind. Very important. Keep an open mind when you work with people. Because remember, they don't come from the same background as you do. They are in a different culture from you. They're from different race. They think differently from you, something like that, And also think about what, because Mr. You haven't worked. So I think it's better if I give you some ideas. Now, there are, of course, sometimes conflicts in the workplace, and you need to have tolerance. You have to tolerate people a lot. Phải ráng chịu đựng nhau. You have to tolerate people a lot, in order to work together as a team, Team working can be difficult if you don't have tolerance to work together, And what abilities? What else? Okay, I think that's about it. Okay, thinking time. Okay, so Mr. Please describe a foreign person who you have heard or known that you think is interesting, please.
So I would like to talk about my English teacher in my primary school, who I have known and I think is really interesting. Well, when I was in grade 4, I met my English teacher. I don't really remember his name, but at that time I think I really admired him. He was a very spontaneous, open-minded person.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous, yeah. He said that he had no plan in advance and he just had a thought of traveling around the world, and then he set off immediately without having any plan in advance. And
Okay.
the reason I think he is really interesting is because moving to a foreign country requires a lot of knowledge and a lot of planning ahead. But he didn't think so, and he just do and he just did whatever he wanted without fearing what may come, what
Mhm.
could come for him.
I see.
So I think, and also he had a very unique lifestyle, and he wasn't afraid of trying new things, of learning new skills, and he just did whatever he wanted without fearing the consequences. And I think that's something that I really admired him as a teacher and as a foreign person at that age, and also when I'm older. So yeah, that's the one person, one foreign person that I knew, and I think is really interesting.
I see. So, do you have any foreign friends? And do you think having foreign friends is a good way to know other countries?
Actually, I only have one foreign friend, and she is Korean. Actually, she just moved to my neighborhood a few years recently. And at first, I didn't know how to communicate with her. However, she started to learn Vietnamese, and then we just then we strike up a friendship since then. And I think having foreign friends is somehow a good way to know other countries. In the case where people have foreign friends who live in the same city or near where they live, I think they can definitely know about the other countries through their friends' lifestyles or their behaviors, or learn about their cultures.
Mhm.
And but however, and also when you have foreign friends who people just know through the social media and just talk to each other online. I think somehow through the way they talk or through their different views of life, I think it somehow reflects the cultures of other countries as well. However, I think sometimes having foreign friends have can have some drawbacks the on the way you know other countries. As a matter of fact, each country has a different culture,
Mhm.
so the way people see life or many history have written, and many history that the foreign people have learned may be completely different from what people have learned in their own countries.
Mhm.
And as a result, when the two and as a result of the cultural clash, I think sometimes people will have misunderstandings or may have distorted views or biased view towards their countries. And when they are exposed to a whole different culture, may at some point they may not hold a firm belief in the country anymore, and it is possible that they may it is possible that they may be in two minds about the many aspects of life in the countries and in other countries. And I think it is not a good way, but it can be a bad way to know other countries for any people, for anyone.
I see. Now, so do you think it's important to know the culture and language before going to another country?
To be honest, I think it depends on different cases. But I think in most cases, knowing the culture will be really important. But the language, it really depends. For example, in many situations when people just go to another country for a trip or some just for a short trip, I think it is not really necessary to learn the language because people can talk to the people in English, or they just use many translating apps that they have to communicate with the foreign people.
I
So
see.
yeah, so in that case, I think language is not really important. However, when people immigrate to another country, or they just want to live in that country for a long time. I think it's really necessary to learn the language because it will be much more convenient to communicate with other people in their own language, and it will prevent any undesirable misunderstandings because sometimes the translating apps may not be always true, and it can translate into sometimes many offending things to the people, to the foreign people. But I think in both cases, knowing the culture will be of utmost importance because even when you are on even when people are on a short trip or when they decide to stay permanently in one country, knowing the culture will avoid many misunderstandings that many people may some people that they may have some behaviors that can offend or upset the foreign people, or sometimes they do not realize that their behaviors may may insult some religions or some cultures of the country that they go into. So before going to another country, I think that knowing the culture will be really important. But the language, it actually depends on each situation.
Interesting. Now, so what do you think of people who work in international companies? Is there anything about
In my
them that you would
opinion,
like to learn?
I think I think I really admire people who work in international companies because I think they have to be really resilient and really tolerant. As a matter of fact, when people work in international companies, it means that they have to encounter a lot of different people from different social backgrounds or
Mm-hmm.
different countries. And as a result, there can be a lot of differences in their viewpoints or in their work culture
Mm-hmm.
or just the way they just handle their work. So in order to work in international companies, it is really hard. I think it is really important to remain patient and try to overcome the drawbacks
Mm-hmm.
of meeting new people, and just some people they may have to tolerate a lot of people that they work with,
That's funny you
which
say
is
that.
yeah, which is really something that I really admire.
Mm-hmm.
And also I think they also have to overcome the language barrier. That means that they either have to learn English or they have to learn Chinese or some languages that they find useful to work
Mm-hmm.
in those companies.
Like, for example, language, like Spanish, for example, is also very popular.
Yeah, because they have to work in that companies for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
people just cannot use their own language to communicate with other people. And I think it will be really hard for people to understand each other's ideas when they work with each other, which can definitely um, harm the workflow of the company. And also, I think working in international companies require people to be really outgoing, to become an extrovert, even though they are introverts,
Mm.
because they have to meet a lot of new people from all over the world, uh, or about their or it can be their college or their managers or their clients. So in different cases, they have to meet a lot of new people that they may or may not like them, but they still have to be really friendly and have to always put up with their bad behavior somehow. So I think people who work in international companies are really excellent,
Hmm.
at least to me.
They actually become very fluent in not just languages, but fluent in how they deal with people from different backgrounds of the world. They have lots of experience, and they behave differently. They think differently. They think, how can I say? I'm not saying that better, but yeah, they have an open-minded. They are very open-minded, and they can learn so many new things. They're not stuck, you know, and they're not afraid of trying new things. So, what abilities do people need to have when working in an international company then?
In my opinion, I think people need to have a large number of abilities when working in an international company. It is obvious that they have to be really excellent in what they major, because international companies require a lot of academic credentials, and people who get employed have to be really good at something, so that they can be so that they can work in those companies. And besides that, I think they have to be really tolerant and resilient, and also have to be really open-minded,
Mm-hmm.
because working in an international company means that people have to encounter a lot of people, a lot of personalities that they may not really enjoy. However, they have to put up with those kinds of behaviors so that they can get their work done. And as a result, people who work in international companies have to be really tolerant towards their college behaviors or their uh, great demands of their work.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think in working in an international company requires a lot of work, a lot of people have to be really people. I think people are under really great pressure when they work in those companies, because I think it has a large scales projects that require concentrate on their work. So sometimes people have to work overtime or work day and night to meet the deadlines. So definitely they have to be really patient and resilient and really hardworking, no matter what. And also, I think they have to be really proficient,
Mm-hmm.
really good in their language, because they have to communicate a lot with their colleagues or with their customers or with their managers. So, in order to get their ideas through to other people, they have to be excellent in the language they choose, maybe English or Spanish or Chinese. Each company requires a different common language, but whatever language, they have to be really good at that, so that they can really uh, deliver their message or deliver their presentation or their ideas
Presentation,
to other
presentation.
people. Presentation or their ideas to other people. So
Mm-hmm.
I think those are a few abilities that I can name for people who work in an international company.
Right, perfect. Okay, so this is 82. We can try something else. Let's see. Let's try, okay, did we do this 87? I feel like we did, right? A person who solved a problem in a smart way. Did we do this one before?
Uh, no, we
Never mind. I
haven't.
think I did it with another class. We haven't done 80, 88 either. So, moment. Let's try 89, okay? That's the year I was born. I'm just joking. Okay. So describe a cafe. Remember, we say cafe, or we can say coffee shop. We don't say cafe shop, you know. Không có được, không có cái chữ cà phê shop nha. It's just cafe or coffee shop, remember? Okay, describe a cafe you like to visit. You should say where it is, what kinds of food and drinks it serves, what do you do there, and explain why you like to go there. And then part 3 of cafes, I think. So what kind of people would you like to go to a cafe with? Like maybe go with friends, with your partner, with your lovers or boyfriend, girlfriend, something like that. So with your family, no? Or maybe with your work colleagues, co-workers, you know, maybe. And why would you like to go there with them? Think about that. And you can also think about what kind of conversation you would like to discuss with them there, something like that. Now, why do young people like studying in a cafe instead of at home? Think about sometimes you need a change in environment, you know, sometimes that way. Like, for example, if I stay indoor all the time, yes. I mean, most of the time. Sometimes I study in a cafe as well. Or sometimes I change to studying on a couch or sofa. Or sometimes I study on my bed or while sunbathing, or sometimes I just stay here on my work desk and study, you know. But what I mean is a change in scenery, cái sự thay đổi về cảnh trí. So basically, let's just say a change in scenery, I think is important because it gives you, let's say, it gives you new perspective, you know, it gives you new perspective, viewpoints, you know, about life, and you can look at things in a different way. And also think about sometimes cafe, their music, you know, background music, right? So sometimes it distracts you from studying, yes. But I think young people studying in the cafe because they can meet their friends, you know, there. It's a meeting place. And they don't enjoy meeting at their home, for example. Maybe because their homes are dirty, something like that, you know. Now, so do old people usually like to drink coffee? And remember, people go to a cafe, they can drink many different kind of drinks, you know, not just coffee. They can drink tea, they can drink cacao, hot cacao, or cocoa. We call it hot cocoa, cacao now. And of course, they can drink many different other different things. So do old people usually like to drink coffee? I mean, this question, of course, it depends on what kind of people and where they're from, what they are used to, something like that, you know. And it depends also on what time of day, you know. Think about that. Try to expand it that way. Okay, some time to think now. Okay, please describe a cafe you like to visit.
I would like to talk about uh, the Lauren Coffee, a coffee shop that I really like to visit. Actually, it's a family-run business, and it's located in a normal house of a family. And it's it's in a very remote area of my city. So,
Mhm.
and it usually takes me a lot of time traveling there. But to be honest, I do not really mind. And it serves a large number of different kinds of food and drinks. About the foods, it serves a lot of cupcakes or tiramisu or a lot of biscuits that can be considered a dessert in
Dessert or
many
desert?
meals.
Careful. Can be considered
Dessert,
dessert or desert?
dessert,
Desserts.
dessert.
Okay, careful.
Yeah, a
Like
dessert.
cheesecakes, right? Like cheesecakes and bread with
Cakes
toppings,
or
right?
biscuits, yeah.
Please go on.
Yeah. And the beverages. They have coffee, tea, and also many new trendy kinds of drinks
Mm.
that's very popular nowadays. And also because they have a very reasonable price for their products. So I think it's very good, very suitable for a student like me.
Mm.
And when I go there, I often choose to study because it has a very home-like environment and is very quiet. And for an introverted person like me, that is the perfect environment that I need to concentrate on what I do. But
Mm.
also, other times I usually go there with my friends to just have a chat because we don't really like the crowded environment in many other coffee shops in my city. And the reason why I like to go there is, as I said before, is because it really is really quiet. And I do not have to meet a lot of new people or to have to put up with a lot of noises from other people talking. I just can let my mind wander anywhere I want and just um, enjoy the enjoy the home-like environment, a very familiar environment somehow to me. And yeah, when I study, I really can concentrate a lot more than when I go to other coffee shops.
You
Although,
mean like
despite
compared to
the
when you go to
distance,
other cafes or the coffee shops?
coffee shops.
Good. Right, good enough. Right, don't go too far in part two, okay? Because you have
Yeah.
only 2 minutes. All right. So, what kind of people would you like to go to a cafe with?
To be honest, I think in different situations, in different days, I would like to go to a cafe with different people. For example, I think when I to study or to have a chat, I will probably want to go with my friends because the coffee shops, the cafes are where we see
Yes.
each other.
Mm.
So in those coffee shops, we really have a lot of space, a lot of time, just drinking, just having a drink, or just talk about our life. And I think that's something that I really want to do with my friends. However, on weekends, I will probably choose to go with my families because during the week, we have to work and we have to study, and mostly we do not have enough time to talk to each other, and that means no family bond. So
No
on
family
weekends
bonding.
when
That
we
sounds
are all
bad. Yeah.
free, yes. So, but yeah, on the weekends we decide we have rule that tradition that we go to to a cafe to to eat or to drink something together and then just talk about our problems or about our issues that we need some advice.
I
So I
see.
think between, yeah, in different situations, I would like to go to a cafe with different people.
I see. So why do young people like studying in a cafe instead of at home then?
Well, I think probably the the first reason is that they want a change of scenery because they have been studying at home for a long time. And sometimes people may get really bored. They can get fed up with the environment that they are studying in their home. So they probably want to go outside and find a new environment that they can study. And I think for some people, it can really help them to be more productive and helps them to concentrate more on what they are doing instead of studying at home. Moreover, another reason is probably young because they want to study with their friends in a cafe instead of at home. In cafe, I think they have more. I
Yes.
think they. I think instead of at home, where they may have their parents at home, or they may, or their house are not suitable for studying in a group. So the cafe would be an excellent choice, because those are the places where they can meet up with each other without being getting too disturbed by their family members, or basically they just have more space to study in a group more than when they are at home. So I think these are the two popular reasons why young people like to study in a cafe instead of at home.
I see. Now, um, so do old people usually like to drink coffee?
To be honest, I think it depends on many different kinds of old people. Of course, there are many old people who like to drink coffee. However, there are others who prefer tea. Those are the two drinks that can help them to stay awake when they want to do something. And also, it gives them a very familiar a taste that they can really enjoy. Sometimes the bitter taste can be really suitable for some old people. However, there are many old people who also choose another kind of drink. Like maybe they will drink milk or they just drink many popular drinks that the young people that may drink nowadays. So, because I think as old people, they still want to try something new, something that they have never experienced before, and they want to drink something that is common among young people just to try. And also milk. I think they drink milk to have enough nutrients for their body, for their health. So I think old people may also like to drink other kinds of beverages other than coffee, like tea or milk or popular drinks.
I see. Well, coffee is actually, I think people who are very productive, who have to brainstorm or work a lot, or physically or mentally, they drink coffee. The people who does not have to do that, they usually drink tea, I think. Or maybe I'm wrong. It just like I'm just like that. Like, it depends also on if you are allergic to coffee or not, you know. Ever heard about coffee allergy? Because some people, when they drink coffee, their heart
No.
rate increases, you know. Có một số người uống cà phê vào nhịp tim tăng đó nha. Their heart rate increases and they feel uncomfortable when they drink coffee, you know. I am one of them, so I know. So that's why I always drink tea only, you know. Okay, so you can talk also about that as well. Now, so it's 89. We can go to the next one. Let's try 95. Now it's getting more difficult. 95. Describe an interesting old person you have met. This person has to be old and interesting at the same time, you know. So who this person is, when or where you met this person, what you did with this person, and explain why you think this person is interesting. Okay, so it's 95. Okay. Okay, and you have part 3 also. Do you think old people and young people can share interest? It's an interesting question, you know. But sometimes I have seen young and old people share the same interest. For example, in classical music, for example, nhạc cổ điển chẳng hạn. Or they can share the same interest in pottery, hobbies like pottery and music. In let's say, how can I say, leather work, làm đồ da, in leather craft. I think leather crafts. And you can also talk about the same interest. For example, some people, they're interested in history. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, you know. So this is this is like a common thing that old and young people can share the same interests. But you can also talk about the generation gap, you know. Remember that. Generation gap is a real thing. If you are so different in terms of age, you probably will think differently too. You approach different topics in a different way. Like, for example, older people are most likely conservative, you know, bảo thủ, are more conservative than young people, and they are less likely to accept new things, you know, accept new ideas. It's difficult for them to accept new ideas compared to the young people. So think about that. Okay. So what can old people teach young people? Of course, if they have already lived like many years, they have the experience, right? So of course they can teach a lot of things. I think you can think about, like, for example, skills that are vital. Let's just say vital survival skills. Like, for example, cooking. Think about cooking. It's actually a survival skill because it can help you save a lot of money, and it could help you survive a difficult time, you know. And think about you can teach young people sewing. Ever heard about it? May vá quần áo. Yes, because these days people tend to just go out and buy new things, right? But sewing can actually be a lifesaver. It can be a lifesaver. If you are in a difficult situation and your clothes are worn out, or there's a how can I say, a hole in the pockets. Like, for example, có cái lỗ trong túi quần như thế. If there's a hole in the pocket, then if you know how to sew, it could save a lot of money, you know. And also think about old people can teach young people how to recognize bad people. It's a really good skill to learn, you know, how to recognize bad people, how to recognize people who lie to you, how to recognize people who are deceptive people, you know, những cái người mà hay lừa người khác. How to recognize bad or deceptive people. These are life skills, you know. Okay, and think also, on the other hand, you can talk about what young people can teach old people in return, you know, like technology, new skills like that. Now, is it easy for young people and old people to make friends with each other? So this is the same thing, like when you work in international company, you know. So remember, if you have a generation gap, you have different culture. You were born and raised probably differently in a different environment. So you need tolerance, you know, you need tolerance. And you need resilience. To tolerate each other, of course. Sống với nhau phải chịu đựng nhau. Yes, correct. And in order to make friends with each other, you have to have trust, you know. You need to have trust. You need to have trust. And you need to have, of course, tolerance. And you need to be open-minded. You need to have be open-mindedness. It's a noun. And also, remember the fact that if you make friends with a person whose age is different from you, you need to also take into consideration that other friends of them will need to know you as well, you know, and other friends of yours might need to know theirs as well, you know. Những cái nhóm bạn của mình cũng cần phải biết những nhóm bạn của cái người mà khác mình tuổi nữa nha. You know, it happens that way. And sometimes when they bring friends home, you know, when they bring friends, you will have the chance to meet many people who are at a different age than you are, you know. So think about that. And to be honest with you, it's not easy, but it's doable. Nó không dễ dàng nhưng mà nó làm được. Not easy, but doable. Okay, so you can also talk about how this can be done. Cái cách mà điều này có thể được làm. Like I can give you an example. Think about shared interests here that we talk about. With shared interests, it's much easier for people to make friends, you know, if you share the same interests with other people. But I think the main thing here is to be open-minded and be friendly, you know. Tôi nghĩ vẫn là quan trọng nhất là phải thân thiện với lại phải suy nghĩ thoáng xíu đi thiệt. Mới make friend dễ dàng được. Okay, so are there any benefits when one person is interested in another person and why? Có bất kỳ lợi ích nào không khi một người hứng thú về người khác? Tại sao không? It's a weird question, right? Like think about if someone is interested in you, they are much more likely to how can I say to open their hands to help you, you know. If they're interested in you, they're much likely to open their hands to help you. Mở ra vòng tay để giúp mình. Yeah. And think about the fact that they are willing to help you at any turn if you're in a difficult situation. And think also about the fact that they are much more willing to endure your how can I say bad traits. They are much likely to endure your bad traits. Endure, chịu đựng những cái tính trạng, những cái tính tốt, những cái tính xấu của mình họ dễ dàng họ chịu đựng hơn. They're much more willing to endure your bad traits if they are interested in you. And also they can bring new opportunities to you if they're interested in you. Yeah. And you can give some examples. Now, so do you think people are more selfish or self-centered now than in the past? Think about what happened in the past. In the past, families. So in the past, families used to be much bigger than now. So basically, a mother can give birth to, let's say, a mother can give birth to, let's say, 10 children. But these days, it's much harder to take care of even one or two two children, you know. So let's just say that when you have less children, each and every child is much more well cared for. They receive better care, right? So they receive better care and attention compared to in the past, you know. And because of this, very sadly, they think that they are the king or queen of the family, you know. And they become much more egotistical. they become much more self-centered, luôn nghĩ mình là cái rốn của vũ trụ, luôn nghĩ mình là cái trung tâm vũ trụ, ai cũng phải nghe theo. People always, a lot of people, a lot of situation like this can happen in China, for example. You know that they have a one child policy, right? Chính sách một con của Trung Quốc á. They have a one child policy in China that has been going on for at least like 40 years, I think. So it creates many generations of children who are born and raised as, how can I say, they don't have any brother or sister, they have no siblings. So they're just cái từ mà con một là gì ta? What's the word for that? I forgot. The only child. So basically they are only child, the only child, con một. So basically they're the only child in a family. And what is the problem? They think that they are the king and queen of the family and everyone has to obey them, you know? So think about that. Think about what I just said. So what benefits can people get if they are self-centered? Nếu mà con người ta cứ luôn luôn nghĩ về bản thân họ, không quan tâm người khác thì có lợi ích gì không? Like, this is the benefits people get if they are self-centered. So the benefits apply to those people who are self-centered, okay? Not the other people around them, okay? Mình phải nói về những lợi ích mà đối với những cái người mà có cái tính self-centered này, chứ không phải những người xung quanh họ nha. So think about the fact that people, if you are self-centered, most likely people will try to please you, con người ta sẽ tìm cách làm hài lòng mình. Well, actually it happens, but not all the time. There will be people who hate you. Well, think about that. People will try to please you. Actually, self-centered will create selfish individuals, who doesn't care about the others but themselves. I have personally known some people like that. And to be honest with you, you always feel like you are the background and they are the main character, Mình luôn cảm thấy như mình là cái background, mình là cái nền để người ta tỏa sáng vậy đó. And it's not a fun thing, So think about what benefits they can get. So it's like most likely people would try to please you. For example, if there are any opportunities, maybe people would try to bring you first, before sharing the news with anybody else. Có cơ hội gì là cứ chia sẻ cho mình trước khi nói cho người khác biết chẳng hạn. Something like that. It's like a psychology thing, But it's terrible. Anyway, please think about this one first. Okay, thinking time. Okay, please describe an interesting old person you have met, please.
So I would like to talk about an interesting old person that I have met, who was former soldier in war times. And a few years ago, when I went to a trip with my family, I came across a former soldier from the Vietnam War era at a historical exhibition held in Hanoi City, which commemorated the war heroes and their sacrifices. And he was there as a guest, and he shared his experiences with the audiences. And after his talk, I had a chance to spend an afternoon with him. We just walked through the exhibition and also enjoying the various displays where he would explain and would point out and describe the scenes and events that he had personally encountered. And each story was really captivating, filled with bravery and tragedy of the soldier, and also a deep love for the country. And what makes me think that he is really interesting is because despite the bad experiences that he had during the war times, he still remained to be really optimistic and very and had a very optimistic attitude towards life. He
You
shared
mean have a
about
very
his
fresh and new attitude to life, right? Like a very refreshing and new attitude to life, right?
yeah, and his experiences. He shared how he has used those experiences to help rebuild communities and to promote peace. And he tried his best to transform his wartime experiences into lessons of resilience and forgiveness uh, to to his, to many people. And I think he stands out as one of the most interesting old people that I have ever met because of his unique attitudes of life, despite many of the horrors that he had faced.
Okay, I see. Now, do you think old people and young people can share interests?
In my opinion, I think it is possible that old and young people can share the same interest. In many situations, there are many young and old people who have the same interest, who's the common interest in their taste of music or in their hobbies. For example, many people, both from the old and young generations, may really enjoy classical music, or they just have the same hobbies, such as doing pottery or doing many art craft. And I
Hmm.
think, yeah, it is possible that young people and old people can have the same interests. However, also that, that I think most of the cases they may not have many same interests because of the different generations and also their different perspectives, their viewpoints of life that lead to the differences in their interests. But in general, I think it is likely that some young people and old people can share the common interest with each other.
I see. Now, so what can old people teach young people?
I think that old people can teach young people a lot of skills, a lot of vital skills, such as cooking, sewing, or just how to recognize bad people and not get deceived, deceived. First, there are many
Deceived,
skills that are
received, deceived. I think it's deceived, deceived. I'm there. Yeah, deceived, deceived. Yeah.
yeah. For example, old people they have lived for a long time, and as a result, they can have many experiences, can have many skills, such as cooking or sewing, and I think those are very important skills for young people to learn in order to assist them in their later life. Um, Also, because young old people have encountered a lot of different people, a lot of
Okay, moment.
personalities, and that means that they can recognize who is good and who is bad, and recognizing those people can help young children to stay away from the bad people who just try to take advantage of them, and then move on to people who are actually good and friendly to people.
I see. Okay, so All right, so let's go to the next question then. So are there any benefits when one person is interested in another person, and why? If I
Well,
miss out any question, ask me, okay?
yeah, you just
Just tell
miss.
me if did I miss out this question?
Yeah,
Okay, let's try this one first. Is it easy for young people and old people to make friends with each other?
I think with some people, I think it is easy for young people and old people to be friends with each other, but also there are many people who do not find it too easy as easy. Mm, First, I think in some cases, the young generations will find it really easy to make friends with old people, because I think most of the time old people will mostly they will want to talk to someone else rather than because they have retired and they have a lot of time for themselves, and because they're and because and some people may live far away from their friends, so be so maybe making friends with old people just means that you just listen to what they want to talk about, or just listen to their advice or their lessons that they have in throughout their entire life. However, there are many people who find it difficult to make friends with old people because of the generational gap.
Mhm. The generation.
Because they live in different eras. So I think their viewpoints of life will be extremely different from each other. Young people tend to be more open-minded, and they tend to be bold, and they will be very adventurous, will not afraid to try something new. On the contrary, old people, they they are usually really conservative, and
Conservative.
sometimes conservative, and sometimes they just stick to something that they have already been familiar with, and will not be and will not want to try something new in their life. So this different personalities or these different viewpoints of life will lead to a lot of differences between young and old generations, which makes it really hard for them to be friends with each other.
Mm.
So I think in general, young people making friends with old people is not really easy
Mhm.
for some people, but it is possible. It's doable.
I see. Now, are there benefits when one person is interested in another person, and why?
I think when one person is interested in another person, there will be a lot of benefits. First, I think that the person who is interested in another person will maybe willing to open their hands to help you, no matter may what problems may arise. That person will always try the best to help you out, even when even when you have a difficult situation in life about they can give you advice, or sometimes they can give you the money if you are in debt. So I think that's the one benefit. Also, when one person is interested in another person, I think it's possible that they will endure your bad
Endure
traits.
each other.
Yeah, endure your the bad traits of that person.
Endure each other. Yeah.
Mm, because they are because they have an interest in you, then your bad traits will no longer be a problem, and Sometimes they will even find it a unique trait of yourself, and and also maybe they will try to help you fix or to change your bad behaviors and make you a better person.
I see. I see. Now, so are there benefits when one person is interested in another person, and why?
You just ask that
Oh,
question.
sorry, you already answered that question also. I sorry. So do you think people are more selfish or self-centered now than in the past? So let's just compare the different era first. Like in the past, what happens in the present? How's the difference,
To be honest, I think people. I think it depends on each era, but uh, for example, I think in the past people may be more selfish and they can, or in some situations they may not. For example, because in the past there were many wars and people had to try their best to survive. So it can lead to many people stealing or many people trying to outwit somebody to get whatever they want to survive, maybe food or money or whatever they need to survive during the wars. So I think in that case people are much more selfish than they are now, because now they live in peace. So most people will have a standard, a suitable living condition. So they will not be as selfish as people that lived in the past during wars. However, in the past, because a family could give birth, could have many children, so I think it can also it can it, it can also lead to people becoming less selfish and less self-centered than in the present, because they have to distribute their food or have to distribute the love of their parents to many of their siblings. So from a very young age, they have learned how to share with other people, and try to not just think about themselves. And however, nowadays, because many people choose to have only one child, so mm, that child receive better care and attention, and as a result they may have the idea of them being spoiled or being the center of everything, and everybody has to listen to them. So I think whether people are more selfish or self-centered now than in the past depends greatly on many cases in both eras.
I see. Now, okay. Sorry. Okay. So what benefits can people get if they are self-centered? And let's focus on the person who is self-centered. What kind of benefits can they get if they are like that?
Well, I think the biggest benefit that people can get when if they are self-centered is that they may prioritize themselves much higher than other people, which means that they care about their feelings and they try to please themselves rather than please other people, which can be really good. And as a matter of fact, when people are self centered, they only care about themselves. They only care about what they want and what they need, about their feelings or about their demands. So, uh, so it means that people can actually understand what they want, and they can please themselves and try to get themselves a better life, which and rather instead of being to instead of trying to please other people, they do not really care about the events around them, and they just focus on themselves only. And I think this can be a really great benefit of self-centered people. And also, I think when people are self-centered, other people may try to please those people. But in general, I think people concentrate on themselves the most is the benefit that they can get when they are self-centered.
Mm. Honestly, to be honest with you, there's a lot of self-centered people right now, you know, because it seems like the society is becoming less and less compassionate when people care about each other. No, because I just feel like people are becoming more and more selfish these days. Maybe I'm wrong though, but yeah, that's just what I can observe. Okay, let's see what else do we have. Let's try a few more questions from these topics from here. We did 112 already. Okay, let's do 10. Okay, let's do 110. Okay. Describe a person who often buy at a street market at cheaper price. You know, like someone who often argue or often bargain with people, you know. They want to buy the things at the cheapest price possible. It's like that, you know. 110. Possibly you don't need the cue, eh? You don't need the hints. Okay, some time to think. All right, Mr. Please describe a person who often buy at the street market at cheaper price. After this one, we can end. Yeah.
So I would like to talk about my aunt, who is someone who usually buys at the street market at a cheaper price. She often shops in the local market where she often go there early in the morning, which she considers is the best time to catch good deals. She loves buying fruits and vegetables and meat there, and most of the time she will because she have been shopping there for a long time, so she knows many of the sellers and can always bargain a bit on the prices
Mm.
of the products. She is quite a famous person for her bargaining skill.
Oh my God, it sounds terrible. You know, it sounds
Well,
absolutely
the reason,
terrible if someone is famous for that, you know. I think the right word is notorious, you know.
yeah,
Hectin, notorious is basically you're famous for bad reason, you know, notorious. Okay,
yeah, and
please
she
continue.
has a very own way of bargaining. First, she will ask the price, and then if it's too high for her budget, she will pretend to walk away, and then the sellers will again call her back and then give her the price that she wants. And the reason that she's drawn uh, to the goods, she drawn to buying goods at the cheaper price is that she loves saving money. because when she was small, she was always living in a shoestring, and she and her family always didn't always have enough money for her to buy a lot of new things. So she always had to be really economic with her buying things. So I think this habit of her has followed her since then. And when she grew up, it just become a it just become a nature of her. Wherever she goes, whatever she buys, she always has to consider a lot. And when the price is not suitable, which she thinks is not suitable, and she will try her best to haggle a bit, so that she can have the best price of the products that she buy.
I say, okay, good enough now. I think we can end it here today. I'll see you tomorrow then.
Yeah. See you. Goodbye.
See you, goodbye.